been thinking about core values, huh?
A lot of people have.
Yeah, and you even sent over this article
Oh, yeah.
called What Are Core Values and How to Set Yours
Interesting titles.
from Nutrunity UK,
Hmm.
which I thought was interesting
Yeah. How about that?
because it's a naturopathic nutrition clinic.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of a cool
Yeah.
place to be talking about core values. But it seems like you're really trying to figure out more than just a definition,
Yeah.
right? Like you're looking to understand how these values are even formed in the first place.
Yeah.
And then how can we identify our own? So are you ready to take a deep dive into this?
Yeah. Let's do it.
Right.
I think it's important to remember up front that we're not talking about just like what looks good on a resume.
Right.
Core values are so much deeper than that.
Yeah.
You can think of them almost as like your internal GPS,
Ooh.
guiding you toward a fulfilling life, even when you're faced with really tough decisions.
Okay, I love that analogy. But how do we even uncover those like internal GPS coordinates?
That's the question.
Yeah, the article mentions upbringing, experiences, relationships.
It's a
It's a lot. It's like a tangled web.
It is a web,
Yeah.
but it's a super fascinating one.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much, especially our challenging experiences,
Right.
really shape what we value.
Hmm.
I mean, psychologists have developed whole theories around this. Like, overcoming adversity can make us prioritize resilience or independence.
Oh, so it's not just the good times
Right.
that are shaping us. It's how we're navigating those rough patches.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so those are like the defining moments.
Uh-huh.
But wouldn't that mean that like our values could change over time?
Sure.
Right? What if what I valued 10 years ago isn't as important to me now?
You're absolutely right that challenges the assumption that our values are just set in stone. It's
Yeah.
more like they evolve with us
Oh.
as we grow and change.
Okay.
Our priorities might shift, and that's totally normal, right?
The key is to try to stay in tune with those shifts
Right.
and adjust our internal compass accordingly.
So we're not stuck with the values that we were maybe raised with or
Right.
adopted at some point in our lives.
Yeah,
We have the power to redefine them.
we do.
Okay, I have to admit, that's kind of liberating.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
But it's also where things can get a little tricky.
Uh-oh.
Because how do we separate those values
Yeah.
that we've inherited or adopted from society
Uh-huh.
from the ones that genuinely resonate with who we are at our core?
Right.
You know what I mean?
Totally.
I mean-
And that's where this whole self-reflection thing comes in, right?
Yeah.
The article talks about taking time to really think about
What?
what brings us genuine happiness and fulfillment.
Yeah.
That's easier said than done.
I know. And it's like everybody's telling us what should make us happy.
Right.
Achieve this and buy that and,
Yeah.
look like this.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to lose sight of what truly matters to us.
So this deep dive is about cutting through that noise.
I'm here for it.
All right.
Let's cut through the noise, but where do we even begin?
Yeah.
The article gives us like this big list of values, right?
Mm-hmm.
Achievement, authenticity, benevolence, and it goes on and on.
Right.
Do we just pick and choose from the list?
Well, it's a good starting point.
Okay.
But simply picking from a list is kind of like
Okay.
ordering a pre-made meal instead of creating your own culinary masterpiece.
Oh.
You might end up with something edible,
Right.
but it won't have that unique flavor that comes from crafting something that truly reflects your taste.
Okay, so it's about more than just checking boxes.
Yeah.
It's about digging deeper and discovering what really sets our soul on fire.
Right.
But how do we actually do that?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't there a risk of overthinking it?
Sure.
Getting lost in all this introspection?
Absolutely. There's always a risk of analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
But remember, this is a journey,
Yeah.
not a destination.
Oh,
Don't get too bogged down in the details.
Okay.
Trust your intuition,
okay.
what feels right in your gut,
Yeah.
what values resonate most deeply.
Okay, so we're tuning into our intuition.
Yes.
We're looking for those values that feel like home.
Yeah.
But what happens when we bump into
Yeah.
those pesky values
Oh.
that we've inherited or adopted from society?
Ooh, good question.
Right. Those beliefs that might not actually align with who we are.
It happens.
Yeah.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Okay.
It's about having the courage to challenge those beliefs,
Uh-huh.
to question whether they truly serve us.
Yeah.
It's like decluttering our mental attic,
Oh,
getting rid of those dusty old values that no longer spark joy.
I love that.
Right.
So it's not about just blindly accepting the values we were raised with
No,
or that society tells us we should have.
absolutely not.
It's about consciously choosing the values that reflect who we are today.
Yes.
Okay.
And that can be a very liberating process.
Yeah.
But it can also be a little unsettling. It might mean letting go of beliefs that have been part of our identity
Yeah.
for a really long time.
Right. It's like stepping outside of our comfort zone and saying,
Right.
hey, this is who I am now, and these are the values that guide me.
Yeah,
It's about owning our choices and living authentically.
exactly.
Right.
And remember, this isn't about becoming a completely different person.
Right.
It's about refining and evolving,
Mm-hmm.
shedding those layers that no longer serve us,
Yeah.
and embracing the values that truly reflect who we are at our core.
So we've uncovered these core values,
Okay.
these guiding principles that are lighting our path.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do with them?
Yeah, that's the question.
How do we actually integrate them into our lives?
Right, because they shouldn't just be words on a page. They
Yeah.
should actually inform our actions, our
Right.
decisions, our interactions with the world.
Okay, so I'm starting to see the practical application here.
Yes.
So how do we go from just knowing our values to actually living by them?
Yeah. Think of it as aligning your actions with your beliefs.
Okay.
It's about making choices big and small that reflect those guiding principles.
Could you give me like an example?
Sure.
Let's say one of my core values is authenticity.
Okay.
How would that show up in my everyday life?
Well, if authenticity is your jam,
Okay.
it might mean expressing yourself creatively without fear of judgment, or setting boundaries in relationships that feel inauthentic,
Oh.
or even choosing a career path that aligns with your passions, even if it's unconventional.
Mm.
It's about being true to yourself in all areas of your life.
Okay, I see how that works.
Yeah.
So it's not just about saying, I value authenticity.
Right.
It's about actually embodying that value in your actions,
Exactly.
choices, relationships.
Yeah.
But what happens when our values clash with the demands of reality?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right. Like, what if my job requires me to do things
Yeah.
that feel inauthentic?
That's tough. And those are the moments that really test our mettle. It can be tempting to just shrink back and stay silent
Right.
to avoid conflict.
Uh-huh.
But remember, your values are your compass,
Okay.
guiding you toward a life of purpose.
Yeah.
Sometimes that means standing up for what you believe in,
Right.
even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular.
So it's about finding that balance between staying true to ourselves and navigating those tricky social situations.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, but that sounds kind of exhausting.
Oh, I know. It is. It is.
All the self-reflection and aligning
It is.
and being true to ourselves even when it's hard.
Right. But
Yeah.
it's so worth it.
Okay, so it's like a long game,
Absolutely.
not a quick fix.
No.
It's about really committing to this journey of self-discovery
Yes.
and living in alignment with those core values even when it's challenging.
Exactly. And remember, you are not alone on this journey.
Aw,
We're here to guide you,
thanks.
to help you unpack those complex emotions and experiences,
Yeah.
and to celebrate your unique inner compass.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why of core values,
Mm-hmm.
but how do we move from theory to practice?
Right.
How do we actually identify those deeply held beliefs that make us, well, us?
That's where the real adventure begins.
Ooh.
And that's what we'll be exploring in the next part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm ready.
All right, let's do it. So we left off talking about identifying our core values.
You did.
And remember that big list of values the article provided?
That was a lot.
Right. It's a buffet of possibilities.
Okay.
But instead of just grabbing whatever looks tasty,
Okay.
let's try to be a little more strategic.
Strategic about core values. Okay.
Yeah,
So we're not just piling our plates with every value on the buffet table.
exactly.
That's the game plan then.
I want you to think back to those moments in your life when you felt truly alive, like
Yeah.
genuinely fulfilled.
Uh.
What was it about those experiences that resonated so deeply with you?
Hmm.
What were the driving forces behind those choices? The answers might surprise you.
Okay, I'm sensing a theme here. It's about like looking beyond the surface.
Yeah.
Right? Like those shiny achievements or those fleeting moments of happiness
Yeah.
and really understanding like what fuels our inner fire.
Precisely.
Yeah.
Maybe it was that time you took a huge risk and started your own business,
Okay.
even though everybody thought you were crazy.
Uh-huh.
Or that moment you chose to speak up for what you believed in,
Yeah.
even though it was uncomfortable.
Right.
Those are the moments that reveal our true north.
Okay, so we're mining our memories for those aha moments.
Yeah.
Those times when we felt most aligned with ourselves.
Exactly.
But then how do we connect those experiences to specific values?
Think about the underlying motivations behind those actions.
Okay.
What were the driving forces?
Uh-huh.
Were you driven by a desire for freedom,
Hmm.
a thirst for knowledge, a need to make a difference.
Okay.
Those are the clues that point toward your core values.
So let's say I took that risk and I started my own business. Was it because I valued independence and creativity?
Maybe.
Or was it more about a need for achievement and recognition?
Could be.
Or all of the above?
It could be a combination of all those things.
Right.
And that's where that honest self-reflection comes in.
Yeah.
There are no right or wrong answers here.
Oh, okay.
It's about uncovering what truly resonates with you.
It feels like we're like peeling back the layers of an onion, getting closer and closer to the core.
I like that.
Yeah. But isn't there a risk of going down a rabbit hole here?
Oh, for sure.
Right? Like overanalyzing every decision we've ever made.
Absolutely. There's always a risk of overthinking.
Yeah.
But remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
So don't get too bogged down in the details.
Okay.
Trust your intuition.
Okay.
What feels right in your gut. What values resonate most deeply.
So we're tuning into our intuition.
Yes.
We're looking for those values that feel like home. But what happens when we bump into those pesky values that we've inherited or adopted from society?
Oh, yeah. Those are tricky.
Right. Those beliefs that might not actually align with who we are.
It happens. And that's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
It's about having the courage to challenge those beliefs, to question whether they truly serve us. It's like decluttering our mental attic.
Yeah.
Right.
I like where this is going.
Getting rid of those dusty old values that no longer spark joy.
So Marie Kondoing our values.
Exactly.
I love it.
So it's not about blindly accepting the values we were raised with.
Right.
Or that society tells us we should have.
It's about making conscious choices.
Yes.
About the values that reflect who we are today.
Yes. And that can be a very liberating process.
You can.
But it can also be a little unsettling.
Yeah.
Because it might mean letting go of beliefs that have been a part of our identity for a really long time.
Right. It's like stepping outside of our comfort zone and saying, hey, this is who I am now. And these are the values that guide me.
That's it.
It's about owning our choices and living authentically.
Exactly. And remember, this isn't about becoming a completely different person.
Right.
It's about refining and evolving, shedding those layers that no longer serve us, and embracing the values that truly reflect who we are at our core.
Okay, so we've done all this work.
Yeah.
We've uncovered these core values.
Okay.
These guiding principles that are lighting our path. What do we do with them?
Right. That's the big question.
Yeah. How do we actually integrate them into our lives?
They shouldn't just be words on a page.
Right.
They should inform our actions, our decisions, our interactions with the world.
Okay, I'm starting to see the practical application here.
Good.
So how do we go from just knowing our values to actually living by them?
I like to think of it as aligning your actions with your beliefs.
Okay.
It's about making choices big and small that reflect those guiding principles.
Can you give me like a concrete example?
Sure.
Let's say one of my core values is authenticity.
Okay.
How would that actually show up in my everyday life?
Well, if authenticity is your jam, it might mean expressing yourself creatively without fear of judgment.
Yeah.
Setting boundaries in relationships that feel inauthentic.
Okay.
Or even choosing a career path that aligns with your passions, even if it's unconventional. It's about being true to yourself in all areas of your life.
Okay, so it's not just about like saying I value authenticity.
Right.
It's about actually embodying that value in your actions, your choices, your relationships.
Exactly.
But what happens when our values clash with the demands of reality?
Oh, yeah. Those are tough.
Right. Like what if my job requires me to do things that feel inauthentic?
Right. And those are the moments that really test our mettle.
Yeah, they do.
It can be so tempting to just like shrink back and stay silent to avoid conflict.
Yeah, it's easier.
Right. It is. It is.
But is that really living in alignment with our values?
Right. And that's the question you have to ask yourself.
Okay, so maybe sometimes it's worth rocking the boat a little bit.
Sometimes.
If it means staying true to ourselves.
Exactly. Because remember, your values are your compass.
Right.
Guiding you toward a life of purpose.
Okay.
Sometimes that means standing up for what you believe in, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular.
So it's about finding that balance between staying true to ourselves and navigating those tricky social situations.
Yeah, and it's not always easy.
No, it's not.
But it's so worth it.
Okay, so it's a long game, not a quick fix.
Absolutely.
It's about really committing to this journey of self-discovery and living in alignment with those core values, even when it's challenging.
It is, and remember, you are not alone on this journey.
Thank you.
We're here to help guide you, to help you unpack those complex emotions and experiences.
It's good to have company on this journey.
And we're here to celebrate your unique inner compass.
Okay, so we've covered the what and the why of core values.
I have.
How do we move from theory to practice?
Yeah.
How do we actually identify those deeply held beliefs that make us wellness?
That's where the real adventure begins.
I'm ready. Let's go.
All right, let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about how core values can shape our personal lives.
Right.
But you mentioned this whole ripple effect thing.
Yes.
Suggesting that they have an impact.
They do.
Beyond just ourselves.
Uh-huh.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Imagine like a pebble being dropped into a still pond.
Okay.
Those ripples spread outward, right?
Yeah.
Impacting the entire surface of the water.
Mm-hmm.
Your core values can have a similar effect.
Okay.
They can influence your relationships, your community, even the wider world.
Wow, so it's not just about like me feeling fulfilled and happy.
Yep.
My values can actually make a difference outside of my own little bubble.
Absolutely.
Okay, I like that.
So for example, let's say one of your core values is environmental sustainability.
Okay.
So you might start making eco-conscious choices at home.
Right.
But then what?
Yeah.
Maybe you join a local cleanup effort. Or you advocate for greener policies, or even inspire your workplace to adopt more sustainable practices.
Yeah.
Those ripples start with you,
Right.
but they can spread far and wide.
So it's like those individual actions fueled by our values can collectively create like a wave of positive change.
Exactly.
Okay, giving chills.
And the beauty is it doesn't have to be about like grand gestures or heroic feats.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most impactful ripples are the ones we create in our everyday interactions.
Oh, that's good. So it's like even small acts can contribute to a much bigger shift.
Exactly, like simply being kind to a stranger or standing up for someone who's being treated unfairly.
Right.
Those seemingly small acts can actually contribute to a bigger shift.
I like that. So we don't have to like quit our jobs and, you know, travel to a third world country and dedicate our lives to, you know, saving the world.
It starts right here.
Yeah, we can start right where we are.
In our everyday lives. Think about like those people that you admire, the ones that are like really making a difference in the world.
Yeah.
I bet their actions are deeply rooted in their core values. It's that authenticity, that unwavering commitment to their beliefs that makes their impact so profound.
Okay, so less about striving to be a superhero.
Yeah.
And more about just like finding ways to express our values in our everyday lives and let those ripples spread naturally.
Exactly.
Okay, but what about those times when our values clash with the world around us?
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Right.
Those are the moments that test our courage and resilience.
Like, what if I value social justice?
Okay.
But I'm surrounded by people who are either apathetic about those issues or even hostile.
That's hard.
Yeah, it can feel pretty discouraging.
It can be tempting to just like shrink back and stay silent, you know, just to avoid conflict. But remember, your values are your compass.
Okay.
Guiding you toward a life of purpose. Sometimes that means standing up for what you believe in, even when it's uncomfortable or unpopular.
So how do we do that effectively?
Well, it's about picking your battles wisely.
Okay.
And finding ways to communicate your values respectfully.
Yeah.
Even when you disagree with others.
It's easier said than done.
It is.
Right.
But remember, you're not going to change everyone's mind.
True.
And that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes the most powerful act is simply living by your values.
Okay.
And letting your actions speak louder than words.
It's like being the change you want to see.
Exactly.
Okay. I like that.
And remember, you don't have to do it alone.
That's good because I'm feeling a little overwhelmed.
I know, it's a lot.
Yeah.
Connect with like-minded people. Find your tribe.
Okay.
And support each other's journeys.
There's power in numbers.
There is.
Right.
There's strength in numbers. And together you can create ripples that extend far beyond your individual circle.
Wow. So it's not just about preaching our beliefs.
No.
It's about finding our people.
Yes.
The ones who share our values and who inspire us to live authentically.
Exactly. And when you find those people, magic happens.
Ooh.
You create this collective energy, a force for positive change that can move mountains.
That's beautiful.
It's like that saying, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
I love that this has been such an eye-opening conversation.
It has.
We've explored what core values are, how to uncover them, how to align our lives with them, and now how they can ripple outwards
Right.
to create positive change.
It's a lot.
It is. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on this journey of self-discovery.
I'm so glad.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking the time to break it all down.
It's been a pleasure diving deep with you.
Oh, I like that.
And remember, this exploration is just the beginning.
Okay.
Keep asking questions, keep challenging yourself, and keep those core values as your guiding light.
Yeah.
The world needs your authentic self.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. We hope it's inspired you to explore your own core values and discover the incredible ripple effect that they can create. Until next time, keep shining your light.